See, it kind of boils down to this. Religious, uh, the way of existence gives you an easy answer. And we know, the truth is stranger than fiction. You know, the truth is always more complex than an easy answer. And that's what it boils down to. And that's why science is always going to win. It explains things very specifically. Truth is stranger than fiction. Things are complex. The religious side is the easy answer. Like God did it all. But how did it all start? That's the point. And the religious book would never tell you that. Science will tell you that. By evidence, by observation. And that's why science is always going to beat creationism. You know, the truth, how it all came to be, and not only that, we have fossils older than thousands of years old. We have fossils in the millions of years old. Not only that, I mean that can disproves your whole, your holy books. But the point is, the truth of existence, it's a lot more complex than something that says that God did it all, not even explaining. Like I said, if the book had more specifics of how it all started, instead of just saying, well, God created the heavens, God created the earth, God created plants, God created animals. Boom, 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 boom. It's too easy of an answer. Remember, if this book is a troll creator, it would put in there that humans, shared 90% of our DNA. That's a fact. That's a fact because scientists have observed that. That's a fact. Um, you know, and that's just not in there. So science, like I said, science, religion, whatever goes hand to hand, science always wins because it's based on what's real. You know, it's it's a all the mysteries of science is a lot more complex than something that a God just did it. A lot more complex, and that's why science would always win. Of course, yeah. I mean, it's an easy answer, and people are gonna, well, at least some people, not everybody. That's why people are interested in atheists, even religious people, whether they turn to agnostics before atheists because they want to know. Like Matthew Hunting, he was Christian for 25 years. He was going to be a pastor, and he said, "I want to know exactly, what's real. I want to know what, how we came to be. I want to know the truth." And that's why some religious people become agnostics, because they want to know the truth, and they find out, the religious books just it's not a good enough answer. Some people satisfied it, not everybody, and the people that really want to know, they stick with science. Either they become agnostics or they become atheists, or they take any other secular path. Um, because this eternal book is just not good enough answer. If it was an eternal creator, it would show specifically how things came to be. It would have in there that we have 90% of our DNA with chimpanzees, which is proven. With observable and scientific testing. It's not in there. It's just a basic um, information that, okay, boom, God created the heavens, God created this, okay, God created plants, God created animals, just fucking shit just appeared out of the blue. And we know in the real world it doesn't work that way. The science is much more complex. How we evolved is much more complex. How existence came to be is much more complex. Wouldn't an eternal creator have anything like that? In other words, it would be the book would be humongous, and the book would be very specific, not just a simple answer that God created this, God created that, because we know that's not how that works. We know God didn't create bananas. We know things evolved, and this is all backed up by science. And that's why another reason your holy books is not good, doesn't hold water. Science always defeats the religion. It's more complicated explanation. And the people who want to know the truth, who are looking for the real answer instead of just a basic answer, which is not even a real answer. It's it's an answer what people wrote, to control people, and it's a simple answer. Well, God created heaven, God created earth, God created land, God created plants, God created animals. It's too easy of an answer, and that's why people are become either they take a secular path, and this the religious people either become agnostic or atheist or some other secular path. Like, for instance, Matt Dillahunty was, 25 years Christian. He said, I want my beliefs to be true. A lot of people, obviously, are agnostics at least. Because when the Reason Rally came, people wasn't sure how many people would show up there, for the freedom religion. And it turns out thousands of people showed up. What does that tell you? A lot of people have doubts on the religion. There's just too many holes in it. And the people really want to know. They're like, at least the people that really want to know the answer. Where did I come from? How did this all start? Instead of just a simple answer where God did this, God did this, God did this. People are not satisfied. People want to know the specifics. Like me and a lot of other people, whether they're believers and they became non-believers, or then you have that mixture of believers, but they still believe in the science. They just feel in they're deists. In other words, they feel in what science cannot, or they think will never be proven. They think there's a higher power out there, and they're like a deist. But the problem is with the deist is they're giving up. Never give up, because the truth is stranger than fiction. And if you put a God, that even makes it more complex. Just where did it come from, and how could it just exist out of nothing? Where science is everything evolved naturally. Dark energy, dark matter, still freaky, still natural. The cosmic background radiation was all that, the matter, that stuff observed when the Big Bang happened. I don't think anybody should be deist, because as long as you're alive, stick with the science, stick with the unknown, unexplained. Because once you put that, when you're a God believer, whether you're a religious God believer or just a deist God believer, you shot yourself in the foot, and you said, I mean, you might not necessarily shot yourself in the foot, because you could be a deist, but you could still follow the science. They still want the answers, but your conclusion is that, well, science would never explain this. But remember, truth is stranger than fiction, and we still have a lot to learn, and it's freaky stuff out there. But once you put your God in there, and just where did it come from, and how, what did it exist out of the blue? See, things don't happen out of the blue in science. You may think it happened out of the blue, like the Big Bang just happened in the blue, but not necessarily. We still have a lot to learn about that. It could have been things. It could have been naturalistic means, believe it or not. It could have been just a random thing. Remember, because in space, things are just constant fluctuations. Asteroid, comets, just hurling at each other. It's a state of chaos. And the universe is not fine-tuned. You have plants that grow in cracks. The plants can't even survive in the cracks. Things are not fine-tuned. So if you really want to know the answer, and that's why a lot of people do, that's why they stick with the science, and they stick with that till the end. Because once you become the God believer, your beliefs become less strong, because you feel the happiness that, well, science can never explain it. Oh, we have that God. But the funny thing is, for your deists though, or you're pantheist or whatever, you know, any of you God believers, non-religious God believers, um, obviously you don't believe in heaven and hells, but why come to that conclusion so quickly? Just put God in there. Um, and that's why it goes what, like 90% of scientists are atheists. You know, the rest, some are like, I guess, deists, you know, or you know, and then some are just religiously believing it, but not many. So, but the point is, um, I mean, you may think DS makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to me because you kind of still shot yourself in the foot. Yeah, you're gonna follow science, but then you know, you're, in other words, these deists are not, you know, strong. You know, they're weak. They're kind of weak still, not as weak as religious people, but but um they're not hard believers. I mean, they're not. I mean, sorry. Well, I mean, in the science, I mean, they're not um, they're not strong enough in their beliefs uh, uh, to be like a total non-believer in God. You know, they believe the science, but they're still kind of weak. You know, where the atheists were strong all the way to the end because the well, number one, truth is stranger than fiction. You know, it is. We still have a lot to learn, and just don't put your God in the picture. Because once you put the God in the picture, it just complicates everything. It just makes it even more complex. And the universe of multiverses is just too complex already. So, you know, I think the atheist approach is it's the best. You know, being atheist to the end. I think that's the best because because like I said, it kind of boils down to this: the universe, multiverses, planets, galaxies. It's so complex. You put the God in there, that even makes it even more complex. The God is even more complex than everything. It makes it totally unbelievable. Whereas everything based on science, naturalistic means, it's the best explanation. Truth is stranger to fiction. We still have a lot to learn.